Oh, good afternoon to everyone in the room, and hello, whatever time zone you may be online at the moment. And really thank you very much to the organisers to give me the opportunity to introduce this session. And I think it's a really great thing now to see the combination across the GXPs, if you like, within this sector of combining it into a single event. So I just thought I'd just cast our minds back a few years now. I'd say I was stood on this very stage, but the venue was different at the time. But I remember back in 2018, myself and colleagues visiting the US to really kick off this collaboration that we now have around symposia and meetings. And the meeting that we held all those years ago before disruption of pandemics, where we really focused on clinical trials and data integrity. But even now, just looking back and the experience of working with our inspectors and in the pharmacovigilance area of just how relevant that data integrity discussion was then and still is now, as PV really does really get involved in that level of data and just the importance of the compliance and reliability just to help inform decisions. So even then, you know, I think we were really touching on these key subjects and these key items for an ever-evolving world of regulation and conduct of all these different activities related towards medicines. So I just thought before we get into what's going to happen this afternoon, I'd just reflect what's been happening over the last few days. And I think these themes are relevant for whichever area that we're looking at and discussing. That, you know, we've talked a great deal already about collaboration, and not only the collaboration between us as regulators, but also that collaboration between us, industry, you, the stakeholders. And also, I think it's been really refreshing that we've heard a lot of talk about patients as we're having these discussions, and how that's the important thing at the end of all of everything that we do. So that whole collaboration theme has really come through, and also how we can improve and get better and working together as a community around the delivery of safe medicines. And of course, all of that is really built on information sharing. So you'll hear about how our agencies work together to be more effective and more efficient, and also how important information is, especially for when we're looking at safety. And I think, again, we'll just touch on how pharmacovigilance really does, it's an information game in effect. And when you start combining all these different themes, it really just shows how all of these three areas are so important. And then this week, we've already looked at the future and new approaches, and pharmacovigilance and compliance is no different in that there have been changes, and there will be continue to be changes to how we work, how technology influences how we look at things, how systems and inspection approaches have evolved, and how that will continue to do so. So even though we're now on day 3 and the PV session, I think it just shows how all of these topics intertwine themselves across all of the regulated areas that we look at. So even though we're in a new session, it's really an extension of what we've been talking about all through the week. So I think when I was just pulling together, trying to work out what to say here, and just discussions with some of the team back in the UK, I think this collaboration theme really does underpin what we're talking about with pharmacovigilance, in that it is in effect the ultimate collaboration, in that we have the patients and the healthcare providers, we have the pharma company, the organisations, then us, the regulator. And actually it doesn't work without collaboration, because we're all reliant on this transfer of information. You know, it's a cycle of trying to find the signals, the events, and the organisations and adapting, and the regulator having the oversight. And of course, importantly, the patient plays such a key part here of actually informing and starting that information share, and then obviously being the recipient of advice and changes to guidance to patient information. So without this collaboration, the system doesn't work. And I think it's very easy for someone like myself that spent their regulatory career very much looking at clinical and preclinical and building up to the all-important approval, that it's quite easy for people like myself to forget the importance of where pharmacovigilance steps in, of expanding that data set about safety, of the ability to have a larger population to get the data and the information to inform the safety decisions. Because certainly as working in the development phase, we've got a limited population of where that data comes from. So the power of this system is so important to patient safety. It's really important that we make sure that the systems work, that they're compliant, and that there's good quality data to inform those decision makings. So again, reflecting back to my presentation earlier this week, that the whole decision-making process of having the right information, the capability to make these safety decisions, a pharmacovigilance system is critical to enable us to do that. So I think that really does show the power of communication and collaboration. And without that, these things don't work. And I think the other thing that really comes home as a powerful message here as well, this really is a truly global activity, in that we're not just talking about the FDA is only concerned with data from the US, the MHRA only concerned with data from the UK, Health Canada only from Canada. It really is about sourcing all this information as widely as possible to inform those decisions. And this global activity as well it's not purely our responsibility to have the right systems and regulation and oversight in place. And we're increasingly seeing now that this really is a global regulatory activity, and the opportunities there for us as international regulators to partner with more and more regulators from around the world to make sure we're all have got reliable data and harmonise as much as we can to make sure those systems are in place to really, really build good quality informed decision making. So what we're going to see today, I think this is a great start to this event for pharmacovigilance and coming into this family of events this year. So again, we're going to hear about international collaboration. So we'll hear how our agencies are working together to really maximise all of our experience and resources. As with the rest of the week, we'll look to the future and learnings that we've had and the direction of travel for how these inspections and the oversight will be put into place as we move forward and work together. And then as usual, there will be updates. Part of these events are to enable us to inform you and to the widest audience possible to get our current thinking across and point you in the right direction. But equally, hopefully these presentations will prompt questions, whether it be online or in the room, that can feed back to us now. And then the panels will be able to talk things through, offer advice, or point you in the right direction. And it all builds into this collaborative model and working together to make sure that we all can work with good systems, good data, and work together to the ultimate goal of ensuring that there's safe medicines and that patients are safe. So my last message really, before I hand over to the teams, is please enjoy the rest of this event. I'm sure it's going to prompt some really good discussions, ideas, and we can really share the expertise that we're going to have up on the stage for the rest of the afternoon.